slicing into his lisc, where his torso meets his leg, severing an artery, and he bled to death. Michael O'Donnell discovered his wife was cheating with one of his best friends. Before he could confront them, they were both killed in a motorway crash head-on the outskirts of Gateshead. A professional medium, Arthur Conway, stood up at a meeting near Archbold Terrace in Newcastle and said the dead will curse those who betray true love. Those who no longer enjoy the magic of life's energy long to feel that again and will do anything to help them feel. They prey on those who betray the true love of a partner. They seek them out and watch from the shadows so that they can make their lives wretched and miserable. There's numerous cases where this seems to have been proven true. Whilst his wife was working at the cigarette factory WD&H.O. Wills on the Coast Road, Newcastle, back in the early 50s, Brian Simpson was meeting a woman in Jesmond nearby, and one afternoon they were having sex when suddenly the sheet was ripped from their bed. And there, standing above them, was a huge female figure who screamed so loudly that the neighbours called the police. As he grabbed his clothes, Simpson stepped out of bed, stood on one of his boots, turning his ankle and sending him crashing through the front window. His throat was cut and he bled to death in moments. During another illicit meeting at the Swallow Hotel in Gateshead in 1972, married Vivian Craig was in bed with married Dennis Purdy when something happened that made the local press. A photographer was working on a wedding in the functions room when he spotted a huge, dark, moving shape and photographed it. It disappeared and he thought nothing of it, continuing his wedding pics. Yet later that day, an ambulance was called as a wardrobe had been thrown on top of the two lovers, breaking both of his legs and smashing into the woman's face, breaking her nose and snapping 8 teeth off at the root. As the police had to be called, the affair was found out and both parties divorced. And afterwards, Vivian said, the door opened and this huge black figure seemed to float in. We both just turned and stared as we could clearly see it. And just then, this huge wardrobe, far too heavy for any one man to move, flew 8 feet through the air, hitting and hurting us both badly. This thing threw it like it was a child's toy. It was a ghost. I've no idea why. And in the Seaburn Hotel further south, Joanne Clark was meeting James Burton during the 7th month of their affair. They decided to go down onto the sands later that August night to have sex, and as they began undressing themselves, hidden from prying eyes, suddenly there was a woman standing between them. She had wide, staring eyes, and with one flick of her arm had scratched claws into his flesh, dragging it down to his penis, scratching the flesh off that too. The woman screamed and, despite only being partially dressed, ran off the sand straight in front of a van. She was hit, broke a collarbone and 8 ribs. A spiritualist from South Shields in 1985 said at the Open Circle, cheating is the root of many hauntings. If you're there, even with your wife or girlfriend, spirits can feel the negative energy and seek to destroy it. They often choose to inhabit their house where this hypocrisy goes on, often making their presence known until the affair is ended. Footsteps across ceilings or attic floors, dark shapes in bedrooms while you try to sleep, and the sudden shock, all trying to let the cheat know that they're being watched from the other side. Kath Graham from Newcastle had been cheating, and one day she walked into her house late at night, didn't bother turning on a light. Her dog suddenly started barking as if there was someone there. Just as she opened the door into her darkened bedroom, she was hit as if by a kick in the stomach, and there was a huge sound of air blowing all around her. Yet the worst was when a young girl called Julie Haynes committed suicide after finding her fiancé Paul Fairley had been cheating on her. Fairley even took his new girlfriend Helen Monk to her funeral. Then on moving back into her home, the home he'd shared with Julie, everything began to happen. One night, Helen woke up the entire street screaming because someone with long fingernails was trying to kill her. Her neck had huge black bruises where she was being strangled, and the following night, a small, fast-moving black shadow threw an iron at Paul as he sat watching television, causing him to require 17 stitches to his brow. Over 40 incidents in a matter of months, and they both were petrified as to where it was leading. And then one night, there were a few bangs and bumps from the house, and Helen said, "Let's get married." From the second she said that, the house began to stink. The pressure in the home gave them both severe headaches as they tried to shake it off. It arrived. It was obvious there was something in the room. Paul turned around screaming until he turned around to see his ex hanging from a noose in front of him. And yet she was staring right at him and said, "Hello, Paul," in a half-choked voice. He moved towards her only to be knocked to his feet. Helen saw the image too and left him there and then, never to return. And if you betray someone, it may well be that your karma turns on you. Those who have felt that pain from the other side may decide to teach you a lesson.